What's up, guys? It's Penuel, the Black Pen. I'd like to start off by thanking each and every person who watched, liked, shared, commented on, and more specifically, all the people that donated money to the video that I made on the rand manipulation saga in South Africa among South African banks and foreign banks, 28 banks in total. Of course, unsurprisingly, not much has been done from a government perspective. We haven't heard a state of emergency from whether it's the ANC or the EFF or the DA. Understandably so, because I, like many other people, understand that this country is captured largely by the biggest companies, local and foreign, who obviously funnel their money through the South African Reserve Bank for their own needs and purposes. These are the same people that then go on to fund your favorite politicians and political parties. But to everyone who donated money, I know I didn't get a chance to thank you all individually in the comments. For everyone who donated money to that video, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you very much. As I have said before, I've opened up this channel where I do sponsored videos, and I'm going to be dropping more. I've got a couple of them in the pipeline. I'm going to be doing more sponsored videos on this channel where I'm going to be inviting you to either promote your business or promote whatever work you do. You could be self-employed. You maybe want to even promote your employer. Or maybe you're looking for some type of opportunity with whatever skills that you may have. So I'm going to use this platform while I'm educating, while I'm connecting with people, while we're gossiping where we can, to also highlight your business and your offering in that same video, and it will be sponsored by you and you will get a shout out. I've done a couple of videos before that have been sponsored, and I'm going to be doing more of those moving forward, and especially into the new year. And the important thing, which I also highlighted in the video on the rand manipulation saga, was the fact that to ensure that so many of us remain independent of mind, independent of thought, it's important for people to contribute to us. It is not necessarily some of us begging for money, etc. Yes, we try to make money from other avenues. We try to make money even from a YouTube and AdSense. But sometimes we get so many other people that want to sponsor, that want to brand, that want to donate. And some of these people have their own agendas, which they are allowed to have. However, for certain videos, it is important for them to be fully objective. And for those objective videos, there's a lot of research that needs to go in. Sometimes there's traveling that's needed. Sometimes there are sit downs at coffee shops and other places that need to be had. And then for us to be able to deliver this to you, we need a few resources, and we always appreciate. We're not begging you, we're not forcing you, but we always appreciate the donations that come through. And more than anything, for myself as a panelist, I always appreciate people that offer things outside of money. Pen, we will transport you here. Pen, we can accommodate you here for free. Pen, we can send you maybe a voucher, or we can feed you, or we can donate things to some of your initiatives. I had Kimberly Clark just earlier this year donating so many nappies to underprivileged children at some of the clinics and the hospitals where the parents, or the mothers in particular, cannot afford nappies. I've had so many people donate money, people donate foods, tinned foods in particular, people donating blankets, people donating school shoes to the needy. So sometimes that is your way of giving back so that we can make the world a better place. If you haven't had a chance to, please go and check out my latest sit down with Joshua Maponga on the Penuel show. The Penuel show is going to be reworking some of its models in the new year. One of them is that we have pre-conversations with the guest and we have post-conversations with the guest. And those ones we're going to be leaving exclusive for paying members on the Penuel show. And then you're just going to have the conversation there. Welcome to the Penuel show. Have a conversation or an interview with the guest. And then close off with thank you very much for coming to visit us on the Penuel show. And we hope to see you again. But then for paying members as an extra perk, because paying members always want to know, but yes, we donate and yes, we agree with the work you're doing, but what extra benefit can we get? And that's going to be one of the perks that we're going to be giving in the new year. And also we're going to be looking into other perks for paying members, because it is important. Many of us do not have money. Many of us are struggling. But for those who take a little bit of money to just donate and to say, look, carry on working, it's important for us to give them some type of extra benefits, because it inspires them to carry on donating as well. Joshua Maponga gave a warning to colonial beneficiaries, and he was saying that if colonizers, colonialists, colonial beneficiaries, in particular European beneficiaries in South Africa and Africa, if they do not catch a wake up and find a way to work with original Africans, black people in this country and on this continent, it may not be them, but it may be their descendants, their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren that may bear the brunt of the anger that erupts. We are looking 30 years in at a South Africa where the ANC government has failed intrinsically the people of South Africa. So many benefits, free houses via RDPs, some social welfare and grants which people get today, the child grant, the old age grant. Today we've got the social relief for distress grant of 350, which people call the COVID grant. People get free healthcare, which is pretty dope, through free clinics. People get to send their kids to free schools where their kids get to eat for free as well. And so many amazing things that they've done. But at the core, they've failed to give Black South Africans what Black South Africans actually fought for during apartheid and what so many of them died for, which is number one, ensuring that land that Black people were forced off of during the apartheid era and even during colonization is properly redistributed to the Black people that lived there. Many Black people were fighting for land, and the ANC government has failed to say we have ring-fenced all the land that was taken. You can have your land back. If you're not getting your land back, we will give you market value to say we will give you the money since you don't want to live there. Maybe you've moved to Cape Town, maybe you've moved to somewhere in Mpumalanga, maybe you've moved to the Eastern Cape and you're no longer where your original land was, and they say, look, we will calculate the value. We will give you money for this land so that you can say, I got restitution, my form of reparations for that land. That's the first part. The second part is ensuring that Black people are actively involved in the economy of this country, an economy that was built off the mining resources, the gold, the diamonds, later on the coal, the platinum, the chrome, etc. Instead, they came up with this model called Black Economic Empowerment, of which the first BEE commission was headed by Cyril Ramaphosa, the current president. And instead of ensuring that the wealth is redistributed with the Black masses, they kept it for themselves in a small group. Cyril Ramaphosa, a lot of his friends, his brother-in-law, Patrice Motsepe, and so many other people ended up becoming wealthy overnight. They became multimillionaires and billionaires overnight, sitting on the boards of certain companies that they had negotiated with some of the wealthy white apartheid and British colonial beneficiaries. And they failed. Later on, it was revised to triple BEE, broad-based Black economic empowerment. They came up with these employee schemes. They came up with these community trusts. But fundamentally, Black people are not fully engaged in the mainstream economy. And not only that, but the skills are not being passed on. Our schooling system has actually gotten worse in South Africa, where the average child is not learning basic things like how to grow food, how to manufacture, how to make clothing, how to be able to build property. Practical skill that they can see in real life and that they can sell as a skill or a trade somewhere in the world. Ensuring that there is no red tape. A lot of the banks we have today that were involved in the Rand manipulation scandal, they were built during the British colonization phase. Some were built during the apartheid phase. And today the ANC government has failed to create a fertile platform with no red tape for Black banks to exist. Instead, they've actually destroyed Black banks. Banks like the Vendor Building Society, which is VBS. Banks like, I think Itala is struggling. You look at the Post Bank, which is a state bank, destroyed. And now you look at today where we are. Eskom, which was built by the apartheid government, has been destroyed. We have load shedding, we have power outages, which have been horrible in the last few days, where you have 10 hours of no power. You look at Transnet, which transports rail and other ways. Today there is a backlog at the harbors, Durban, Richards Bay. They've destroyed Transnet. You look at the increase, we had Sasol. They could have expanded Sasol so that we're not paying ridiculous prices for fuel because we can refine our own oil into other products. They've destroyed other state-owned enterprises, and it seems just to be getting worse and worse. And Cyril Ramaphosa, along with Pravin Gordhan, maybe the ex-finance minister Tito Mboweni, maybe the ex-finance minister Trevor Manuel, and so many other ANC leaders and ex-leaders seem to be hell-bent on privatizing as much of this country as possible, either to give it to their apartheid and colonial friends, where they will enjoy BEE seats, or maybe to other foreign entities who have maybe given them money, promised them money, or whatever the case may be. So Joshua Maponga and I were speaking about this concept of saying, just like the ANC is destroying South Africa and the South African economy and infrastructure, if European colonial beneficiaries do not come to the party and say, I want to work with you Black South Africans, let us build a better nation for all, like the Springboks, someone will pay for that in future. He called it a prophecy, in fact. And we have to avert this. It doesn't help, of course, when Black colored Indian, but in this instance, white South Africans are running away to Australia, running away to New Zealand, running away to England, running away to Canada, running away to the United States. They got to enjoy plowing, pillaging, and milking this nation. And when it's time for them to plow back and build back, they nowhere to be seen. Think of this concept. Your grandfather goes and makes a lot of money somewhere, whatever business it may be. Maybe your grandfather exploits people, enslaves people, whatever the case may be. Your grandfather comes back home. Your grandfather comes back home and is very wealthy. And now the rest of you, his family, who have also been helping him in his endeavors, he refuses to share with you. To share. You're not killing your grandfather for life insurance payouts or his wealth. You are saying, Grandpa, Grandma, let's share. And your grandpa and grandma are saying, no. Who are you? What did you build that is so great? Where have you been while I was suffering? Europeans in South Africa, white people, in a more colloquial speak, need to find ways to say, if we want this country to work and to win, we need to say, look, my grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, my forefathers came and they built this amazing farm. They came and they built this amazing mine. They came and they built these amazing institutions. But if we want to sustain these businesses, if we want to sustain these farms, these mines, these factories, we are going to have to work with black people today so that we can live comfortably in the future. We are going to have to take this apartheid Afrikaner Springbok institution and welcome more black and colored players in there. Bring in Cheslin Colby, bring in Lucanio Am and say, guys, let's work together. We will share the skills with you. We will train you on how to get bigger, get stronger, how to tackle, how to run, how to, etc. We will allow you to bring in some of your diversity as a colored player, as a black player. We will change some of the language policies. We won't just coach in Afrikaans. We will also coach in Xhosa. We'll also coach in English. But we want to win sustainably as a nation. It cannot be that we're like, no, this is my grandfather's Springboks. You can't come in here. Go build your own Springboks. And it's like, with that type of attitude, at some point, there's going to be an eruption. And you may not get it, but your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren might get it. And even if they've run away to other parts of the world, people might go and find them there and be like, you need to account for what your forefathers did. Whatever wealth you have in America, Elon Musk, we have decided, we have infiltrated the United Nations. We are coming to take a chunk of Tesla. We're coming to take a chunk of SpaceX because you and your family ran away instead of trying to help us build. And we have decided as the global institutions to say, we will redistribute and fix this planet. It doesn't matter where you are. We're not going to come with American laws and Canadian laws and German laws. We will fix this world to be better. But we can avoid all of that by holding hands and working together. Joshua Maponga was speaking to that. One of the things I did ask of him is to paint a picture of a future African utopia. He mentioned a whole lot of things, but I want to summarize some of these and maybe add a few more. He speaks about the idea of listening. I speak a lot. I'm a social media, political, economic, social commentator. I speak about what's happening in celebrity world, speak about what's happening in the economy, businesses, what's happening in politics, etc. I speak a lot. A lot of us talk a lot, but many of us do not listen. And listen is not me doing research on what's in the news trending. Hey, let me see what's going on X. No. Listening is taking time out to meditate. Keep quiet. 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Go for a walk. Just listen to your mind. Part of listening is going to visit your ancestors. Not your ancestors, sorry, your elders. Going to your grandma, your grandpa, your great-grandma, grandpa, if you're blessed to have them. Your parents, if you're blessed to have them and you're a little bit older. Go and ask a few questions. Where's our family from? How did you and mom meet? What are your belief systems growing up? What did you guys eat? How did you guys exercise? Did you guys have all these creams and lotions? What happened if you couldn't fall pregnant? What happened if the child was stillborn? And then you listen. You listen to their wisdom, their knowledge, their stories. And while you listen, you process. When you're sleeping and dreaming, just listen. Don't rush for the dream to end. Take the dream in, be aware, be awake. Okay, I'm scared, something crazy is happening. I see someone I know, and I see someone I don't know. Oh, that person's saying something. This person's doing. Listen. And when you wake up in the morning, you try and recollect. There are people that keep diaries where they write down their dreams. Some, maybe more artistic, will paint something they saw in a dream. Some people use their dreams to inspire, as Joshua Maponga said, inspire ideas. Apple, Tesla, Batu, Drip, Maxhosa, more fire. We use these to inspire ideas. I have a dream. And then I'll sit down. Joshua Maponga had his Martin Luther King Jr.-esque speech on the future of an Africa that he fantasizes about. And part of listening is just listening to your body. Are you constantly burping? Do you always have heartburn? Are you always tired? Do you feel like you're not getting enough rest? Your muscles are sore. You feel a pain somewhere. Your eyes are maybe not as great as they used to be. Just listen. Get out into the world and you're like, why am I always cold? Why am I always sweating, even when it's cold? Listen. Your body, your mind is trying to tell you something. And if you listen, you will find a lot of the answers to what you're looking for. The concept of Sankofa, going back in the past to find solutions for the present. Something like being eco-friendly, being green. That's the past. We speak about it as futuristic and progressive, but it's how people lived in the past. When people were building straw and branch and twig wooden homes and huts, when people were making rondavels and huts out of cow dung and clay and mud, that was eco-friendly and that was green. And sometimes we need to bring those things back to here because some of the materials we're using to build are not good for us, like asbestos. There are certain chemicals in some of the cements, certain chemicals in some of the paints we use that make us sick, that give us mold and infect us. So Sankofa, some of it is the way that we raise our children. Come up with ideas like when a mom's given birth, they put a newborn baby on them so that there's that bonding because the baby's used to this skin on skin touch and it does something for them. Speak about moms and how breast milk, super juice, it's got magic. It helps babies remove their extra nails when babies are sick, and. So we need to go back to solutions for the now. And how do we do that, especially as Africans? I think about it even from a business perspective. I'm going to be making a video about a good friend of mine now, Talipani Banks, and his company Analytics X has invested and he's built a company called Spaza Eats. I'm going to be speaking about Spaza Eats and how it wants to decolonize the courier space for food. And they are probably, like Uber Eats, going to expand beyond food to say, how do we use Spaza Eats in an African way to get Africans to move their food, African food, to move their goods, maybe certain services. I'm going to be making a video about Spaza Eats speaking about that. How to infuse some of these ideas from a diet. What should we be eating? We should be eating more raw foods, vegetables, fruits, drink more water. A lot of these processed things are also making us sick, also making us tired, making us heavy. He spoke about fasting, that we should be having one meal a day. As much as you are listening with your mind, your body needs time to listen. And how is your body ever going to listen to itself if it's constantly churning, constantly grinding food and processing and storing the fat here and taking the carbs and putting them to work? And your body is constantly 24 hours. Body needs to breathe. The gut needs to breathe. You need to allow yourself to fast, to be like, let me detoxify. Let me detox my body by not eating. Maybe drink a little bit of water, but just cleanse this thing. Let my stomach and my guts get rid of everything. Let's burn some of the fat that is sitting there. What's it sitting for, really? Currently living in abundance. Spoke about spraying out around the whole of Africa. We speak about population density in the cities, but it's because so many Africans are not ambitious and visionary enough to go and build new futuristic Wakanda type cities in other spaces. Green, eco-friendly spaces that use herbs, that use plants that are indigenous to the space, that are indigenous to the climate. To say, guys, spread out. You don't have to all live on shacks on top of each other like rats and mice. Don't have to. It's not a way. We are meant to have an abundance mindset. Your people did not exist. We are not living on this planet. And if you believe in the concept of God, God did not put you here to live in a shack or a small little flat or a little house somewhere. You're meant to run free, get on a horse and gallop, fly in an aeroplane. You're meant to walk for kilometers and miles and enjoy the sun and the wind and plant so much food. The capitalist system and the elite who want to keep wealth to themselves because it gives them power and dominion over others, they create this fake scarcity and they ensure that they even patent seeds. Like Monsanto, and they patent seeds so that you can't plant yourself. They go and they take over land. Sometimes they poison some of the soil so that you can't even plant there. Or they go and put you in a space where you can't grow food because they do not want us to thrive. And we need to decolonize our minds. All of us, not just black people. Decolonize our minds and say, we want to live in a planet of abundance. Like in the movie Avatar, James Cameron. Wakanda, Black Panther 1 and 2 is Ryan Coogler. Young, up-and-coming, amazing director. Anyway, story for another day. James Cameron made the most money, Titanic, Avatar. Sensational. So we need to look into how do we fix some of these things for ourselves. And for me particularly, I always want to bring it back home. After we've drawn up these plans of a utopia that sounds beautiful, how do we work backwards from that 500, 200, 150 year, 5-year, 10-year plan and bring it home and say, what must I do today to ensure that my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren live in a better world because of us, where we've cleaned the dirty rivers, where we've replowed into the land and they find fertile soil, where we are healthier and they inherit strong bodies, where we have created the type of technology that allows them to be better but is not destructive, some artificial intelligence type tech that is putting them at risk. And they are healthy and they are thriving and they are happy. And how do we work with Europeans that are going to be like, we weren't there during the atrocities, you weren't, but acknowledge what happened. And let's work together for a better future. For some Africans today, Zulus, to be like, yes, Ushaka Zulu built this huge tribe, but how do I work with the Bavendas? How do I work with the Basutus? How do I work with Amaxhosa to come together and be like, I know Ushaka created the Zulu, but if we're all going to thrive, we all need to work together. Maybe we need new cultures. Maybe we need new borders and new barriers. And then we need to speak about how we do intra-Africa trade, intra-provincial trade, intra-town trade in South Africa, across the African continent, and create speed trains, and we create drones, and we create other things, and we create businesses like Spaza Eats that allow us to move commodities and move food and move other things as easily as possible, as healthily and fresh as possible, so that we can thrive as a nation. And we look at Avatar as a movie and we say, like The Matrix, Avatar was actually a documentary. Like Black Panther and Wakanda, this was not a movie, this was a documentary of the future. How do we take, like people in the tech space have taken 2001 A Space Odyssey, they've taken Ex Machina, they've taken The Matrix and they've brought it to real life, Back to the Future. They've brought it to real life. Star Trek, Star Wars, they've brought it to real life. How do we take Avatar as a movie? How do we take Black Panther as a movie and bring it to real life and create these minimally touched natural spaces where humans, animals, and flora thrive? How do we do that? It's idealistic, it sounds like a dream, but it's like we can make that dream come true. If people can create a fourth industrial revolution, computers that are learning, machine learning, computers that communicate with each other, AGI and AI. If they can do that, which sounds like magic, if people can manufacture the Wright brothers, airplanes in the sky and rockets, if people can create the cell phone and the internet, we can create those type of beautiful spaces that are untainted, where water flows, where birds get to thrive. We have these spaces in like nature reserves and eco parks, but we can create residential spaces today that rely on solar energy. And I don't mean like solar panels. I'm talking a home where when the sun is out, you open the roof so the sun comes in. You don't need to switch on a light. Where when it's hot, you find natural ways for the wind to blow so that it comes in and it cools the place. Or you plant trees, the type of trees that ensure that it's air conditioned under those trees. And you have fruits where when kids are like, I'm hungry, I'm going to get food, they're not going to a shop, they are going to a specific tree because it is in season. When people are sick, you take certain herbs, you make them eat or chew, or you grind them, or you make a paste, or you make some type of concoction for them to drink and to sleep and to rest and to thrive. Why can we not build a future of technology with a future of a beautiful, sustainable planet? It starts with us. He attacked the politicians a lot, specifically Cyril Ramaphosa. Cyril Ramaphosa and the current ANC leadership have destroyed South Africa, and they seem to not even care. Cyril was seen recently almost celebrating a pothole being covered. An entire president who travels the world and sits on huge platforms celebrating a pothole being covered. Recently, he was seen in KZN clapping hands and opening a tap in a village. A tap. An entire president, something that should be done by the ward councillor, something that should be done by the chief in the area, maybe even the mayor. An entire president of an entire country who's meant to be dealing with the issues of Russia, Ukraine, according to him, Israel, Palestine, according to him, who's meant to be dealing with BRICS, according to him, who's meant to be dealing with renewable energy, according to him, but who should be fixing our local problems, the violence in the Western Cape and the Cape Flats, the violence with the political killings, the issue that is ESCOM, the destruction of Transnet, the things that are really killing us as a nation, and the continued exclusion of the black majority in real skills and the real economy, is opening a tap, clapping hands, tap. Wow. These are the type of leaders people believe in. And one of the things I said in the comments while the video was going live was, one of the problems is not Cyril Ramaphosa, it is us. We give these people power. You need to find the power within yourself and say, I will be the president of my life. I will be the king or the chief and the president of my family. And I will be the president and the global ambassador of my community. People will know where I live, how we thrive, how we win. We will solve the problems. We will come up with great solutions. Ask me. And as a gentleman, David Ansara, you're going to see the sit down with him at some point about state proofing. We will speak about how government and politics needs to be the last resort when we have problems. We need to start with us. There's a hole in the road. Let's go close it. There's a hole in the road. Let's go close it. We don't have the tools. Let's speak to our community and close it. No, the community doesn't have the tools. It needs money. Okay, let's go to our municipality or our metro. And if we're failing there, we go provincial. If not, then national. We're saying, look, this whole railway network is destroyed. We now need national intervention. I don't need national intervention to close a road going from here to the shops. I can close that myself or with the help of my community. In terms of trade, that we speak about trading, we can do that ourselves. Spaza shops in the townships that are run by foreigners, largely illegal foreigners, Pakistanis, Ethiopians, Somalians, etc. That is not meant to be solved by government per se. It is meant to be solved by you. You're the one that buys from them. You're the one that's renting out your garage or a room to these people. Why are you and your people in your community not saying, let us open our own spaza shop? We will intentionally buy from there. I will not give up my house to someone else who is not part of my community, who does not invest in my child's school, who does not give to our church, who does not build infrastructure in the community, who does not donate to the sporting facilities and teams in the community. I will not. The problem is me. I want to blame Ramaphosa and the ANC and the DA and EFF. Yeah, the foreigners. You are supporting the foreigners. They are cutting your hair. They are doing your garden. They are babysitting your kids. We need to have these conversations about how we need to solve the problems that we have in our lives. I want to end it here. Again, big shout out to everyone who donated money to my video, The Rand Manipulation Saga. I'm going to drop a link in the description for anyone who hasn't seen it. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting my work throughout this year. The Gregorian calendar year is coming to an end, or at least the capitalist calendar is coming to an end. And I'm going to be making more and more videos. As I said, if you'd like to sponsor videos for a shout out, I'm going to drop my email address in the description as well. And I'd like to thank all the people who have sponsored my videos. And I'd like to thank the current people who have already sponsored. Their videos are going to be coming. I'm just going to be staggering them in however they come out. When the matriculants are done with the exams, I'm going to be making videos on what matriculants should be planning for and expecting for the holidays moving into next year. And then thanks to Mr. Hussein, who runs a business in Gauteng, I'm going to constantly, because he's very passionate about this, he knows I'm passionate about this, constantly plugging the young people on how to hustle and make money and be involved in the economy. Be a pusher on TikTok. Please go check her out. Talibani Banks. Please go check him out on LinkedIn in particular, but he's also on Instagram. Please go check out Spaza Eats. Go and Google Spaza Eats. Go see what they're up to. Amazing company that's coming up in South Africa. He's building solutions for Africa, and we need more people like him to do that, and we need more people like him to collaborate together and see how we can solve the problems that we have on the African continent, and who knows, we might be solving some of the world's problems as well. I condemn the conflicts, the ongoing conflicts in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the wealthiest country on the planet in terms of commodities, is one of the poorest countries of the planet because of capitalism and corrupt political leaders. We need the Congolese people to rise up. We need the Congolese people to rise up and support each other and see how we can help them. We need the Congolese people who are French-speaking people. Bonjour, salut. We need to speak about the issues. We need to speak about the issues, merci, in the DRC and how we can solve them. We need to speak about the issues and the conflicts in Sudan, many of them which are manufactured. We need to speak about Angola and how oil-rich it is and it can power the whole of Africa. We need to speak about our neighbor, Zimbabwe, where Joshua Maponga is actually home. His home is Zimbabwe. And Rutendo Matinyarara, an amazing mind and voice that I also have on the Penuel show. Zimbabwe. We need to fix Zimbabwe so that our African brothers and sisters from Zim who are here in South Africa, because of the situation in Zim, can go home. And after they go home, make sure that they go back to becoming the superpower they used to be. Tobacco, of which I don't believe in smoking, and I think tobacco is actually a bad product. But from a business perspective, put tobacco. We can work with Zimbabwe. They farm. They've got fertile lands there. How do we trade with Zim? They've got gold. They've got coal. Mzi Khumalo, one of the South African initial BEE beneficiaries, has got huge mines in Zimbabwe. We need to find ways to win. We need to find ways to work together. We need to try and unlock the issues of Swatini with the king and people that want democracy. We need to go and figure out Ingonyama Trust. What is it doing for Zulu people in KZN? Royal Bafokeng is a shining light, and I know they can do even more in the Northwest with the Platinum Belt, Royal Bafokeng. What is Ingonyama Trust doing for the Zulu people? When Zulu people are not just beating their chests for taxis and Maskandi, but they're also beating their chests and saying, as Zulus, we mine. As Zulus, we manufacture. As Zulus, we have Richards Bay and Durban. We have huge harbors there. We have a huge airport called King Shaka. We need another huge airport. Richards Bay Airport needs to be even bigger. We need an airport in Newcastle. The airport in Newcastle needs to get even bigger and say, how do we turn KZN into a super economy, into a Dubai? But you cannot do it with the type of leaders that you have that are not focused on building KZN into a Dubai, into a United Arab Emirates. These are the things that young people, and you don't need to look to the leaders, look to yourself. How do I go to Emakosen and go and find solutions there and put aside Odalinje and all other kings and say, we will resolve the Eastern Cape. We'll turn it into a hemp super economy, into a cannabis super economy. We have got Kabeja, we have got Emonti, East London. We have got our own version of Durban and Richards Bay. KZN, hold our fucking coconut milk. Let us show you what's happening here. We will turn the Eastern Cape into something special. It starts with young, visionary, sometimes old, who pass on to the young, visionary people who are going to say, let us start the work, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Penuel, the black pen, have a great and blessed day. Penuel, pen elimnyama. Dis Penuel, die swart pen. Ek hoop jy sal 'n lekker dag hê verder. Baie dankie.